Rain hammered against the windows of the downtown coffee shop. Sophia Chen sat in the corner booth, her black turtleneck dress clinging to her shoulders, silk sleeves rolled to her elbows. Her dark hair fell in loose waves around her face as she stared at her phone, reading the text message for the 5th time. You have 48 hours to accept. Jonathan Park is a good match. Your mother has already agreed. This discussion is over. The coffee shop hummed with late-night energy. Steam hissed from espresso machines. Jazz music played softly overhead. Sophia's hands trembled as she set down her phone. 28 years old, and her father still controlled every breath she took. Jonathan Park was 51, twice divorced, with cold eyes and a reputation for acquiring things. Companies. Properties. Apparently, wives. Excuse me, is this seat taken? Sophia looked up. A man stood beside her booth, holding a sketchbook under one arm. He wore a worn leather jacket over a gray Henley shirt, jeans faded at the knees, and work boots scuffed with paint. His dark hair was messy, like he had been running his fingers through it. His eyes were an intense shade of green, tired but alert. It's all yours, Sophia said quietly. He slid into the opposite seat, opening his sketchbook. His hands were stained with charcoal and paint, fingers long and capable. He began to draw, lost in his own world. Sophia watched him work. There was something calming about his focus, the way his hand moved across the paper in confident strokes. You're staring, he said without looking up. Sorry. Sophia felt heat rise to her cheeks. You looked peaceful. I'm having a terrible night. He glanced up then, really seeing her for the first time. His expression softened. Want to talk about it? Would you marry a complete stranger to escape your family? The question hung in the air. His hand stopped moving. That's a hell of an opening line, he said. I'm serious. The words tumbled out before she could stop them. My father is forcing me to marry a man I've never loved. I have 2 days to accept or he'll destroy everything I've built. My design studio, my independence, everything. He set down his charcoal. So marry someone else. Who? Sophia laughed bitterly. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have time for relationships. My father monitors everything. Then marry a stranger. His green eyes held hers. A contract. Temporary. Legal enough to get your father off your back. Sophia's breath caught. You're joking. I'm not. He leaned forward, elbows on the table. I'm Daniel Rivers. I need to be married within 30 days to access a trust fund my grandmother left me. Family legal nonsense. I've been trying to figure out how to make it happen without actually committing to someone. Her heart pounded. This is insane. Probably. Daniel's mouth curved into a half smile. But you asked the question. Rain continued to pound outside. The coffee shop felt suspended in time, a bubble where impossible things could be spoken aloud. If we did this, Sophia said slowly, it would have to be a real contract. Terms. Boundaries. An end date. 6 months, Daniel said. Long enough to satisfy our requirements. Short enough to stay sane. No romantic involvement. Strictly business. We'd need a lawyer. I know one who specializes in creative legal solutions. Sophia studied him. There was something damaged in his eyes, a shadow that matched her own. Why are you actually doing this? Daniel's jaw tightened. Because I'm tired of people controlling my life. Because I need that money to keep my art studio from closing. Because sometimes desperate times require desperate measures. She understood that. God, she understood that completely. I'm Sophia Chen. She extended her hand across the table. Daniel took it. His palm was warm, calloused. Pleasure to meet you, future wife. The words sent a shiver down her spine. We should exchange numbers, Sophia said. Meet tomorrow to discuss terms. Tomorrow, Daniel agreed. He pulled out his phone, and they exchanged contact information with the surreal efficiency of 2 people who had just agreed to marry a stranger. As Sophia stood to leave, pulling on her long black coat, Daniel called after her. Sophia? She turned back. Whatever you're running from, I hope this gives you the freedom you need. Something in his voice made her throat tight. Same to you. She walked out into the rain, her phone already ringing. Her father's name flashed on the screen. She declined the call and kept walking. By midnight, she and Daniel had exchanged 17 text messages, drafting preliminary contract terms. By 2 a.m., they had scheduled an appointment with his lawyer for the following afternoon. By dawn, Sophia realized she was actually going to do this. She was going to marry a complete stranger. The text came at 8 a.m., lawyer confirmed. 3 p.m. tomorrow. After that, we make it official. Are you sure about this? Sophia stared at the message. Her hands were steady as she typed back, I've never been more sure of anything. She hit send. 24 hours later, she would discover that Daniel Rivers was not who he claimed to be. And by then, it would be too late to turn back. The law office smelled like old books and bitter coffee. Sophia sat in a leather chair, her burgundy blazer buttoned over a cream silk blouse, black slacks pressed and professional. She had twisted her hair into a tight bun, trying to look more confident than she felt. Daniel arrived 10 minutes late, still wearing his paint-stained jeans and leather jacket. He carried 2 coffees and offered one to her without a word. Sorry, he muttered. Lost track of time. The lawyer, Margaret Torres, was a sharp-eyed woman in her 60s with silver hair and a no-nonsense attitude. She placed the contract on the mahogany desk between them. This is unconventional, Margaret said, but legal. A marriage contract with clearly defined terms, duration, and dissolution conditions. Both parties enter willingly with full disclosure. Sophia leaned forward. What about assets? Completely separate. Neither party has claim to the other's property, income, or inheritance. The marriage exists on paper and in legal documentation only. Living arrangements? Daniel asked. That's for you two to decide. Margaret looked between them. Though I'd recommend at least appearing to cohabitate. Your families will be suspicious if you're married, but living separately. Sophia's stomach nodded. She had not thought that far ahead. My apartment is small, Daniel said, but it has a second bedroom. You could take that. I'll pay half the rent, Sophia said quickly. Fine. Margaret pushed the contract forward. Read carefully. Sign at the bottom. After that, we file the marriage license. You'll be legally married within 5 business days. Sophia picked up the document. Her hands trembled slightly as she read through the terms. Duration: 6 months from date of legal marriage. Termination: automatic dissolution unless both parties agree to extend. Cohabitation: required for appearance purposes. Public conduct: both parties agree to present as a married couple in public settings. Private boundaries: no romantic or physical involvement required or expected. It read like a business merger. Cold. Transactional. Exactly what she needed. She looked across at Daniel. He was reading his copy with intense focus, that same concentration she had seen when he drew in the coffee shop. There's something you should know, Daniel said suddenly. Sophia's pen froze. What? He met her eyes. My full name is Daniel Rivers Blackwell. The trust fund I mentioned? It's from my grandmother, Eleanor Blackwell. The name hit Sophia like ice water. Blackwell. As in Blackwell Industries. Daniel's jaw tightened. Yes. You're a billionaire. Technically, I will be when I access the trust. Right now, I'm just a guy trying to keep his art studio open. Sophia set down the contract. You lied to me. I omitted information, Daniel corrected. There's a difference. Why? Her voice was sharp. Why not tell me the truth? Because everyone treats me differently when they know. His green eyes burned with frustration. My whole life, people have wanted me for money, connections, status. Never just me. I wanted one thing in my life to be real. This isn't real, Sophia said. This is a contract. Exactly. No pretense. No expectations beyond what's written on paper. He leaned forward. I need this marriage as much as you do, Sophia. Maybe more. My father cut me off 5 years ago when I refused to join the family business. My grandmother was the only one who understood. She left me everything, but with conditions. Marriage being one of them. Sophia processed this. Your family doesn't know about me. Not yet. They'll investigate. They'll dig into my background. Let them. Daniel's voice was hard. I don't care what they think. Margaret cleared her throat. If you're having second thoughts, now is the time. Sophia looked at the contract. At Daniel. At the path her life would take if she walked away. Jonathan Park. Her father's control. A cage made of silk and gold. Or this. A stranger with secrets. A gamble with unknown stakes. I'm signing, Sophia said. She picked up the pen and wrote her name in bold strokes. Daniel watched her, something unreadable in his expression. Then he signed his own name beside hers. Margaret witnessed both signatures. Congratulations. You're contractually committed to marry each other. The words hung in the air like smoke. They left the office in silence. Outside, the city buzzed with afternoon traffic. Sophia pulled her coat tighter against the October wind. I have a gallery opening tonight, Daniel said. My studio is showing new work. You should come. Might as well start playing the part. What do I tell people? The truth. We met in a coffee shop. We connected. We're getting married quickly because life's too short to wait. It sounded almost romantic when he said it that way. What time? Sophia asked. 7. Address is 1847 Warehouse District. Dress however you want. He started to walk away, then stopped. Sophia? Yeah, thank you. For doing this. I know it's not easy. Something in his voice made her chest ache. Thank you too. She watched him disappear into the crowd, hands shoved in his jacket pockets, shoulders hunched against the wind. That evening, Sophia stood in her closet for 20 minutes before choosing a simple black slip dress with thin straps, a leather jacket, and ankle boots. She left her hair down in soft waves and applied minimal makeup. The gallery was in a converted warehouse with exposed brick walls and concrete floors. White track lighting illuminated paintings that took Sophia's breath away. Dark, moody pieces filled with raw emotion. Cityscapes drowning in rain. Figures caught between shadow and light. Daniel stood in the center of the space, surrounded by admirers. He had changed into black jeans and a charcoal button-down shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looked different here. Confident. In his element. Their eyes met across the room. He walked to her, weaving through the crowd. You came, he said. I said I would. Sophia Chen, this is my business partner, Marcus. Daniel gestured to a tall man with wire-rimmed glasses. Marcus, this is Sophia. My fiancé. The word felt foreign. Strange. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. Fiancé? Daniel, you didn't mention anyone. It happened fast, Daniel said smoothly. His hand found the small of Sophia's back, warm through the thin fabric of her dress. Sometimes you just know. Sophia forced a smile. He swept me off my feet. They played the part perfectly. Daniel introduced her to artists, collectors, critics. He kept his hand on her back or her elbow, little touches that looked natural. Sophia laughed at his jokes, leaned into him when he spoke, played the role of smitten fiancé. But her mind raced. Daniel Blackwell. Billionaire. This was bigger than she had imagined. Hours later, after the gallery emptied, Daniel locked the door and turned to her. You did great tonight, he said. I felt like a fraud. We're both frauds. He walked to a painting in the corner, studying it. That's the point. Sophia joined him. The painting showed two figures standing back to back, faces obscured, surrounded by broken glass. Is this how you see us? She asked. I don't know yet. Daniel's voice was quiet. Ask me in 6 months. Sophia's phone buzzed. A text from her father. I've heard rumors about you and some artist. If you think this will change anything, you're mistaken. Jonathan is waiting. Her hands went cold. What's wrong? Daniel asked. My father knows. Already? He has people watching me. Sophia showed him the text. He won't stop. He'll find a way to ruin this. Daniel read the message, his expression darkening. Then we move faster. We get married this week. Make it public. Make it undeniable. That's insane. So is everything else we're doing. He took her hands in his. His palms were warm, steady. Sophia, we're already in this. Let's go all the way. She should say no. This was spiraling out of control. But looking into Daniel's green eyes, seeing the same desperation she felt, Sophia heard herself say, Okay, this week. Let's get married. Daniel's grip tightened on her hands. You're sure? I'm terrified. But yes. 3 days later, Sophia Chen stood in a courthouse wearing a simple white dress that fell to her knees, holding a bouquet of wildflowers. Daniel wore a dark gray suit, no tie, his hair still slightly messy. Margaret Torres served as their witness. The judge spoke words that blurred together. Love, honor, commitment. All lies. Do you, Daniel Rivers Blackwell, take Sophia Chen to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. Do you, Sophia Chen, take Daniel Rivers Blackwell to be your lawfully wedded husband? Sophia's voice was steady. I do. You may kiss the bride. Daniel stepped closer. His hands cupped her face gently. Their eyes met for one suspended moment. Then his lips touched hers. It was supposed to be performative, brief, meaningless. But the kiss sent electricity through Sophia's entire body. Daniel's mouth was warm, his touch careful, and for 3 heartbeats, nothing else existed. They broke apart. Daniel's eyes were wide, startled. Congratulations, the judge said. You're married. Outside the courthouse, Margaret handed them the marriage certificate. Good luck, she said. You're going to need it. Sophia looked at the document. Her name. Daniel's name. Legally bound. What now? She whispered. Daniel took her hand. Now we face whatever comes next. Together. That night, Sophia moved into Daniel's apartment above the gallery. The second bedroom was small but clean, with a window overlooking the city. She unpacked her suitcase, hands shaking. She was married to a stranger. And she had no idea what she had just done. Her phone rang. Her father's name on the screen. Sophia answered. You made a mistake, her father said. His voice was ice. I will destroy him. I will destroy you. This marriage means nothing. It's legal, Sophia said. It's done. We'll see about that. The line went dead. Sophia sat on the edge of the bed, still wearing her white dress, and realized she had just declared war on her own family. Through the thin wall, she heard Daniel moving in the next room. Her husband. What had they both just sacrificed? Morning light filtered through sheer curtains. Sophia woke in her new bedroom, disoriented. The unfamiliar space. The gold band on her left finger. Married. She pulled on black leggings and an oversized cream sweater, padding barefoot into the main living space. The apartment was an open loft with exposed brick walls, industrial windows, and furniture that looked vintage and comfortable. Paint-splattered drop cloths covered one corner where Daniel clearly worked. He stood in the kitchen area wearing gray sweatpants and a faded band t-shirt, making coffee. His hair was even messier than usual. Morning, he said without turning around. Morning. Coffee? Please. They moved around each other like strangers, which they were. Daniel handed her a mug, their fingers brushing. That same spark from the kiss yesterday. We should talk about rules, Sophia said. Okay. They sat at the worn wooden table by the windows. The city sprawled below them, already alive with traffic. Privacy, Sophia began. We respect each other's space. No going through personal things. Agreed. We maintain the appearance of marriage in public. In private, we're roommates. Makes sense. And the physical stuff. Sophia's cheeks warmed. Yesterday was for show. It doesn't mean anything. Daniel's green eyes held hers. Right. For show. But something in his expression made her stomach flutter. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Check the Morning Herald business section. Sophia's blood went cold. She opened her laptop, navigating to the newspaper's website. The headline hit like a fist. Billionaire heir Daniel Blackwell marries unknown designer in surprise courthouse wedding. Below it, photos. Her and Daniel leaving the courthouse. The kiss. Her white dress. His suit. Daniel, she whispered. He looked at the screen. His jaw clenched. How did they get these? My father. Sophia scrolled through the article, nausea rising. He tipped them off. He wants to make this public so he can tear it apart. The article dissected everything. Her family background. Her design studio. Daniel's estrangement from his family. Speculation about why they married so quickly. Sources close to the Blackwell family suggest Daniel's grandmother's trust fund requires marriage, leading some to question the authenticity of this union. They're calling us frauds, Sophia said. They're not wrong. But they don't know that. Daniel stood, pacing. My father's going to see this. My entire family will. Is that a problem? You have no idea. He ran his hands through his hair. My father, Robert Blackwell, doesn't lose. If he thinks I'm manipulating grandmother's will, he'll find a way to contest it. Can he do that? He has armies of lawyers. He can do anything. Sophia's phone rang. Her mother this time. Don't answer, Daniel said. But Sophia's finger was already pressing accept. Sophia Chen Blackwell, her mother's voice was poisonous. How clever. Mother. You think marrying some troubled artist will save you? Jonathan is furious. Your father has already contacted the Blackwell legal team. They're going to investigate this sham marriage. It's not a sham. It's legal. It's pathetic. Her mother's laugh was cruel. When they prove you married for money, your precious husband will be cut off completely. And you? You'll be left with nothing but scandal. The line went dead. Sophia set down the phone, hands trembling. What did she say? Daniel asked. They're going to investigate us. Prove the marriage is fake. Use it to destroy your inheritance. Of course they are. Daniel's voice was bitter. This is what powerful families do. They destroy anything that threatens their control. I'm sorry. This is my fault. No. Daniel knelt in front of her chair, taking her hands. This is both of us. We knew this was risky. His touch steadied her. Those green eyes, intense and honest. What do we do? Sophia whispered. We make it convincing. We live like a real married couple. We give them nothing to find. How? We start acting like we're in love. The words hung between them. Can you do that? Sophia asked. Daniel's thumb traced circles on her palm. I'm a better actor than you think. Over the next 2 weeks, they fell into a routine. Daniel worked in his studio during the day while Sophia ran her design business remotely. They cooked dinner together, awkward at first, then finding a rhythm. They watched movies on the worn leather couch, careful to maintain distance. But the outside pressure mounted. Photographers camped outside their building. Reporters called constantly. Both families hired investigators. We need to sell this, Daniel said one evening. He wore a navy sweater and jeans, sitting at his easel. Public appearances. Social media. The whole performance. A date night, Sophia suggested. She sat cross-legged on the couch in black yoga pants and a loose gray t-shirt, her hair in a messy bun. Somewhere visible. The Riverside restaurant. It's where everyone goes to be seen. 3 nights later, Sophia stood in front of her mirror wearing a deep emerald dress that hugged her curves, with a high neckline and long sleeves. She had curled her hair into soft waves and applied dramatic makeup. Daniel emerged from his room in a perfectly tailored black suit with a white dress shirt, no tie. He had actually styled his hair. You look beautiful, he said, and it didn't sound like an act. You clean up well, Sophia replied. The restaurant glowed with candlelight and crystal. Every table held someone important, someone watching. Daniel's hand rested on her lower back as they were led to a prime table by the windows overlooking the river. Everyone's staring, Sophia murmured. Let them. Daniel ordered wine. They made small talk, but Sophia felt the weight of 100 eyes. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. Sophia, he said, voice low. I know this started as an arrangement. But these past weeks, getting to know you, I don't feel like I'm pretending anymore. Her heart stuttered. Daniel. I'm saying I care about you. Really care. Not for show. His green eyes were vulnerable, searching hers. Do you feel it too? This was the performance. The act they had to sell. But the way he looked at her felt devastatingly real. Yes, Sophia whispered. I feel it. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissing her knuckles. Around them, people whispered. Phones captured the moment. Perfect. They left the restaurant an hour later. Daniel's arm around her waist. They walked along the river, the city lights reflecting on dark water. That was good, Sophia said. Very convincing. Yeah. Daniel's voice was strange. Convincing. They stopped at a bridge, looking out at the skyline. The night air was cool, carrying the scent of rain. Daniel, about what you said in there. It was for show. He wouldn't look at her. Like we agreed. Right. Of course. But the space between them felt charged, electric. We should get home, Daniel said. They walked back in silence, something unspoken and dangerous growing between them. That night, Sophia lay awake in her room, staring at the ceiling. Through the wall, she heard Daniel moving around. Her husband. Her fake husband. Except nothing about the way her heart raced when he looked at her felt fake. The next morning, everything shattered. Sophia came out of her bedroom to find Daniel at the table, his laptop open, his face ashen. "What's wrong?" she asked. He turned the screen toward her. An email. From someone named Victoria Steele. Subject: The truth about your wife. Sophia's blood froze as she read. Daniel, I hope you're happy with your little arrangement. I thought you should know who you really married. Sophia Chen didn't marry you to escape her family. She married you because her design company is bankrupt. She owes over $300,000 to creditors. She needed a wealthy husband to bail her out. I've attached her financial records. She used you, just like everyone else in your life. Good luck with your trust fund. You'll need it to pay off her debts. Victoria Steele. Chen Financial Advisors. Attached were documents, bank statements, debt notices, all in Sophia's name. All real. Sophia's hands shook. Daniel, I can explain. He stood, backing away from her. Is it true? Yes, but you lied to me. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything. You married me for money. His voice was cold, devastated. Just like everyone else. Just like I was afraid of. No, I married you to escape my father. The debt is separate. I was going to handle it myself. By accessing my trust fund. I never asked you for money. You didn't have to. That's the brilliant part. Daniel grabbed his leather jacket from the chair. You married a billionaire. You'd have access to everything eventually. That's not why I did this. Then why didn't you tell me? He shouted the words. Why hide it? Sophia's eyes burned with tears. Because I knew you'd think exactly this. I knew you'd assume the worst, because that's what everyone's done to you. And you were right. Daniel's laugh was bitter. Because here we are. He headed for the door. Where are you going? Sophia's voice broke. Anywhere that's not here. Daniel, please. Don't do this. He stopped at the door, back to her. My whole life, people have wanted me for what I represent. Money. Status. Power. Never just me. He looked over his shoulder, and the pain in his eyes shattered her. I thought you were different. I am different. No, you're just better at hiding it. The door slammed behind him. Sophia stood in the empty apartment, her wedding ring suddenly feeling like a noose. She sank to the floor, pulling out her phone with shaking hands. She called the number attached to the email. Victoria Steele. A woman answered. Hello. Why did you send that? Sophia demanded. Who are you? Someone who cares about Daniel. Victoria's voice was smooth, pleased. Someone who needed him to see the truth about you. You're lying. Those documents are real, but you twisted them to hurt us. I didn't twist anything. I simply revealed what you were hiding. Who are you really? A pause. Someone who's been waiting a long time for Daniel to come to his senses. The line went dead. Sophia sat on the cold floor of the apartment she had shared with Daniel for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of learning his coffee order, his favorite foods, the way he hummed while he painted. 3 weeks of falling for a man she was never supposed to love. And now it was over. Her phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. I'm staying at the studio. We'll figure out the divorce logistics later. I need space. Sophia typed back with numb fingers. I never wanted your money. I wanted my freedom. There's a difference. The message showed as read. No response came. Outside, rain began to fall, matching the tears streaming down Sophia's face. She had escaped one cage only to build another. And she had just lost the one person who might have understood. 5 days passed in silence. Sophia stayed in the apartment, surrounded by Daniel's paintings, his books, the ghost of his presence. She wore an oversized charcoal cardigan over black jeans and a white tank top, her hair pulled into a careless ponytail. Dark circles shadowed her eyes from sleepless nights. She had investigated Victoria Steele. The woman was a colleague of Daniel's father, a corporate lawyer who had been Daniel's handler when he was still part of the Blackwell empire. More than that, she had been engaged to Daniel 5 years ago, before he left everything behind. The truth crystallized. Victoria wanted him back. The email was sabotage, but Daniel was too hurt to see it. Sophia's phone rang constantly. Her mother. Her father. Jonathan Park's lawyers. The press. She ignored them all. Until Margaret Torres called. "We have a problem," the lawyer said. "Your families have filed a joint motion to annul the marriage. They're claiming fraud, coercion, and financial manipulation." Sophia's stomach dropped. Can they do that? If they prove the marriage was entered into under false pretenses, yes. The hearing is in 4 days. You and Daniel need to present a united front. Daniel isn't speaking to me. Then you need to fix that. Fast. Sophia ended the call and stared at her wedding ring. The delicate gold band Daniel had slipped onto her finger in that courthouse. She had to try. That evening, she walked to Daniel's gallery. Rain drizzled from a gray sky. She wore her black leather jacket over a burgundy sweater dress, ankle boots splashing through puddles. The gallery was dark except for one light in the back studio. Through the window, she saw Daniel. He wore paint-stained jeans and a black Henley, working on a massive canvas. His movements were angry, violent, paint flying from his brush. Sophia tried the door. Unlocked. She stepped inside, the smell of turpentine and oil paint familiar now. Comforting. "Daniel." He froze mid-stroke. Didn't turn around. "You need to leave. We have a court hearing in 4 days. Our families are trying to annul the marriage." "Good. Let them. You'll lose your grandmother's trust." "I don't care anymore." He finally faced her. His eyes were red-rimmed, exhausted. "I'd rather have nothing than wonder if everyone in my life is using me." "I wasn't using you." "Then explain the debt, Sophia. Explain why you didn't mention $300,000 in financial trouble when you proposed this arrangement." "Because it wasn't relevant." She stepped closer. "I married you to escape my father's control. Yes, I have debt. My design company took loans that didn't pan out. But I've been making payments. I have a plan to handle it. I never intended to touch your money." "How am I supposed to believe that?" "Because I'm telling you the truth." Frustration cracked her voice. "I investigated Victoria Steele. Did you know she was your fiancé 5 years ago?" Daniel's expression shuddered. "That's ancient history." "Is it?" "She works for your father. She sent that email to break us apart because she wants you back in the family business. She wants you back, period. That doesn't change what you hid from me." "You're right. I should have told you." Sophia's voice softened. "I was ashamed. Embarrassed. I've spent my whole life trying to prove I'm not the useless daughter my father thinks I am. Admitting I failed my business felt like confirming every terrible thing he's ever said about me." Daniel set down his paintbrush. Paint streaked his forearms, dark blue and black. "I understand that shame," he said quietly. "I walked away from Billions because I refused to be who my father wanted. I've been proving myself ever since. Fighting to matter as Daniel, not as a Blackwell." "Then you understand why I didn't tell you." "I do." He met her eyes. "But it still feels like betrayal." They stood in the paint-filled studio, city lights glowing through rain-streaked windows. "What do we do about the hearing?" Sophia asked. "What do you want to do?" "Fight. Show them this marriage is real." "But it's not real." Daniel's voice was hollow. "Is it?" Sophia's heart pounded. The question beneath the question. "It started as an arrangement," she said carefully. "But these past weeks, learning who you are, seeing your art, your heart, the way you look at the world, that became real to me." "Sophia, I'm not asking you to love me. I'm not asking for anything beyond what we agreed. But I'm asking you to believe that I care about you. Not your money. Not your name. You." Daniel was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was raw. "That night at the restaurant. When I said I was starting to care about you. That wasn't an act for me either." The confession hung between them like lightning before thunder. "Then fight with me," Sophia whispered. "Fight for what we built, even if it started as something else." Daniel crossed the distance between them. His paint-stained hands cupped her face, and this time when he kissed her, there was no performance. No audience. Just desperate honesty and 3 weeks of suppressed feeling crashing together. Sophia kissed him back, her hands fisting in his shirt, tasting turpentine and rain and truth. They broke apart, breathing hard. "We need to win this hearing," Daniel said. "But to do that, we need evidence this marriage is legitimate." "How?" "We show them we're building a life together. Joint bank accounts. Shared assets. Public commitment." He paused. "And we need to destroy Victoria's credibility. I have her phone records. She's been coordinating with both our fathers." This was a calculated attack. Daniel's eyes darkened. "Then we expose all of them." They spent the next 3 days preparing. Daniel moved back into the apartment. They opened a joint bank account and transferred funds. They documented every moment of their cohabitation. Gathered witnesses, Marcus from the gallery, Rosa from the coffee shop where they met, even Margaret Torres. But the night before the hearing, Sophia received a call that changed everything. Her design studio landlord. "Miss Chen, I'm sorry to inform you that your lease has been terminated. Your father bought the building. He's evicting you effective immediately." Sophia's world tilted. Her studio, her work, everything she had built, gone. She stood in the apartment, phone clutched in her shaking hand. Daniel emerged from his room wearing gray sweatpants and a faded t-shirt, concern creasing his face. "What happened?" "My father bought my building. He's destroying my studio. He's erasing everything I've worked for." Daniel's jaw tightened. "He's trying to break you before the hearing. It's working." Sophia sank onto the couch. "Even if we win tomorrow, what do I have left? My company is gone. My family has disowned me. I have nothing." Daniel sat beside her. "You have me. For how much longer? 6 months? Then what?" He was quiet. "Then, what if we didn't end in 6 months?" Sophia looked at him. His green eyes were serious, vulnerable. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying maybe this stopped being fake a long time ago." He took her hands. "I'm saying I want to try. Really try. Not an arrangement. A real marriage. If you'll take the risk with me." Tears blurred Sophia's vision. "Daniel, you barely trust me. Trust is built. We can build it." His thumb traced her wedding ring. "These past few days without you showed me something. I'd rather have you and uncertainty than safety without you. That's the most terrifying thing anyone's ever said to me." "Good. We should both be terrified." He smiled slightly. "That means it matters." Sophia kissed him then, soft and trembling. "Okay, let's try. Even if tomorrow goes badly?" "Especially if tomorrow goes badly." They held each other in the dim apartment, rain pattering against windows, 2 damaged people choosing hope over safety. The next morning, they stood outside the courthouse. Sophia wore a tailored navy suit with a white blouse, her hair pulled into a sleek bun. Daniel wore a charcoal suit with a black tie, his hair finally tamed. They looked like they belonged together. Inside, both families waited. Richard Chin sat stone-faced beside Jonathan Park. Victoria Steele sat with Robert Blackwell, who looked like an older, harder version of Daniel. The judge called the hearing to order. "We're here to determine the validity of the marriage between Daniel Rivers Blackwell and Sophia Chen. The families allege fraud and financial manipulation." Robert Blackwell's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, we have evidence this marriage is a sham designed to exploit my client's inheritance." "Present your evidence," the judge said. They laid it out. The quick timeline. The debt. The convenience of the timing. Then Daniel's lawyer stood. "Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence of a conspiracy between Mr. Chin, Mr. Park, and Mrs. Victoria Steele to destroy this marriage for their own financial and personal gain." She presented phone records, email chains, financial transactions. The judge reviewed them, expression hardening. "Mr. Blackwell Sr., did you coordinate with Mr. Chen to sabotage your son's marriage?" Robert Blackwell's face remained impassive. "My son married a gold digger. I was protecting him." "By conspiring with her father to force her into another marriage?" The judge's voice was sharp. "These records show you and Mr. Chen planned to annul this marriage so Miss Chen could be compelled to marry Mr. Park, thus securing a business merger. Richard Chen stood. That's a mischaracterization. Sit down. The judge's tone was ice. I've seen enough. This court finds no evidence of fraud in the Blackwell-Chen marriage. The marriage stands. Petition for annulment denied. Relief flooded through Sophia. They had won. But the judge wasn't finished. However, I'm appalled by the behavior of both families. To use your children as business assets to conspire to destroy their choices is unconscionable. I'm referring this matter for investigation into potential coercion and fraud charges against Mr. Chen, Mr. Blackwell, and Mrs. Steele. Richard Chen's face went purple. Robert Blackwell's jaw clenched. Victoria Steele stood abruptly. Your Honor, I was merely— Save it for your lawyer, the judge said. Court adjourned. Outside, Daniel pulled Sophia into his arms. We did it, she breathed. We survived. But as they pulled apart, Sophia saw her father approaching. His eyes were cold fury. You think you've won? He hissed. You've lost everything. Your studio. Your family. Your inheritance. Was it worth it? Sophia looked at Daniel. At the man who had stood beside her when everything fell apart. Who had chosen to trust her when it would have been easier to walk away. Yes, she said firmly. It was worth everything. Her father's face twisted. Then you're no daughter of mine. Good, Sophia replied. I never wanted to be. Richard Chen turned and walked away, taking with him 3 decades of control and conditional love. Sophia should have felt destroyed. Instead, she felt free. Daniel's arm wrapped around her waist. Ready to go home? Home. Their apartment. Their life together. Yeah, Sophia said, leaning into him. Let's go home. But as they walked toward the parking lot, a black car pulled up. Robert Blackwell emerged, his expression unreadable. Daniel, he said. We need to talk. Daniel's arm tightened around Sophia. I have nothing to say to you. Even if I'm prepared to offer you full control of your grandmother's trust? No conditions. No marriage requirement. Effective immediately. Sophia felt Daniel tense. Why? He asked. Because watching you today, seeing you fight for something you believe in, I realized something. Robert's voice was carefully controlled. You're more like me than I wanted to admit. And maybe that's not such a terrible thing. What's the catch? No catch. Your grandmother wanted you to have that money. I've been blocking it because I was angry you rejected the family business. But you've built something else. Something that matters to you. His eyes flicked to Sophia. Both of you have. Daniel was silent, processing. I don't forgive you, he said finally. For trying to destroy my marriage. For never supporting my choices. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to do better going forward. It wasn't an apology. But it was something. I need to think about it, Daniel said. Robert nodded. Take your time. He returned to his car and drove away. Sophia looked at Daniel. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. He turned to face her fully. But whatever I decide, we decide together. That's how this works now. Together, Sophia agreed. They drove home through the city, exhaustion and relief mixing into something like hope. In the apartment, Sophia changed into soft pajama pants and one of Daniel's old t-shirts. He wore sweatpants and nothing else, paint still under his fingernails from his nervous work the night before. They lay on the couch together, her head on his chest, his fingers threading through her hair. Sophia? Daniel's voice rumbled under her ear. I'm glad you walked into that coffee shop. She smiled, eyes drifting closed. I'm glad you asked to sit down. We still have a lot to figure out. I know. Your studio. Your career. My trust fund. Whether we actually know how to be married. We'll figure it out. How can you be sure? Sophia lifted her head to look at him. Because we already survived the hardest part. Everything else is just details. Daniel pulled her close, kissing her forehead. I love you. I'm not sure when it happened, but I do. Sophia's heart cracked open. I love you too. Even though you're impossibly stubborn and terrible at communication. He laughed, the sound warm and genuine. We're quite a pair. The best pair. They fell asleep like that, tangled together. 2 people who had started as strangers and become something neither of them expected. Something real. Something worth fighting for. But in the morning, Sophia would wake to a text message that would test everything they had just built and force her to make an impossible choice. Dawn filtered through the windows, soft and gray. Sophia woke to her phone buzzing. Daniel still slept, his arm draped across her waist, his breathing steady. She carefully extracted herself and checked her messages. Unknown number. Meet me at Riverside Park. 7 a.m. Come alone. Your studio depends on it. Her blood went cold. She dressed silently in black jeans, a gray sweater, and her leather jacket. Her hair fell in sleep-messy waves. She left a note on the kitchen counter, went for a walk. Back soon. Love you. The park was empty except for early joggers. Mist rose from the river. Sophia's breath plumed in the November cold. A figure waited on a bench by the water. Jonathan Park. He stood when she approached. 50s, silver-streaked hair, expensive cashmere coat. His eyes were calculating, cold. Thank you for coming, he said. What do you want? To offer you a deal. He gestured to the bench. Please. Sit. Sophia remained standing. I'm not interested in anything you have to say. Not even if it concerns your design studio? She froze. You have no power over my studio. My father destroyed it. Your father damaged it. I'm prepared to restore it. Jonathan pulled an envelope from his coat. I've purchased the building from your father. I'm prepared to transfer ownership to you, fully renovated, with a year's operating capital. Your business can continue exactly as you envisioned. Sophia's heart raced. Why would you do that? In exchange for an annulment. You divorce Daniel Blackwell and marry me instead. Your studio thrives. You get the career you wanted. I get the alliance with your family that I need. You're insane. I'm practical. Jonathan's smile was thin. You married Blackwell for freedom. I'm offering you actual freedom. Your own business, your own success, funded and supported. No family interference. You'll have everything you worked for. Except Daniel. A man you've known for what? A month? You'll forget him within a year. Sophia's hands clenched. You don't know anything about what we have. I know he's a damaged artist with family issues and a trust fund he may or may not receive. I know you're a talented designer whose dream was destroyed by family politics. Jonathan stepped closer. I'm offering you a way to have what you actually want. Your studio. Your independence. Your career. At the cost of my marriage. At the cost of an arrangement that started as a business transaction anyway. His eyes were shrewd. Unless you're going to pretend it's become something more? Sophia's throat tightened. It had become something more. So much more. But her studio. 3 years of work. Her artists. Her vision. I need time to think, she said. You have until noon. Jonathan handed her the envelope. Building deed and contracts. Read them. Consider what you're giving up if you refuse. He walked away, leaving Sophia alone by the river. She opened the envelope with shaking hands. The documents were real. Building ownership. Renovation contracts. A $500,000 operating fund. Everything she had lost restored. All she had to do was leave Daniel. Sophia sat on the cold bench, morning light strengthening around her. She had married Daniel to escape control. Found freedom in their arrangement. Found love in the space between contract and reality. But her studio was her life's work. Her purpose. Her identity beyond family expectations. Could she give that up for a man she barely knew 2 months ago? She stayed by the river for an hour, watching the city wake up. Then she walked home. Daniel was in the kitchen making coffee. He wore faded jeans and a navy blue t-shirt, barefoot, hair disheveled. He smiled when he saw her. Morning. Went for a walk. Something like that. She set the envelope on the counter. What's that? Daniel asked. Sophia told him everything. Jonathan's offer. The building. The funding. The price. Daniel's face went carefully blank as she spoke. When she finished, he set down his coffee mug very slowly. So you're choosing between your studio and me. It's not that simple. It really is. His voice was hollow. This is exactly what you wanted when you married me. Freedom. Career. Independence. Now you can have it all. Not all. I'd lose you. You barely know me. Don't do that. Sophia's voice cracked. Don't minimize what we have because you're scared. I'm not scared. I'm realistic. Daniel turned away, gripping the counter edge. We've known each other 2 months. Your studio is your life's work. Of course you should take the deal. You want me to leave? I want you to have what you deserve. He faced her, and his eyes were devastated. I can't be the reason you give up your dreams. I won't be another person who took something from you. Tears burned Sophia's eyes. What if you're part of my dreams now? Then dream bigger. Daniel crossed to her, cupping her face with paint-stained hands. Take the studio. Build something incredible. Don't let me hold you back from who you're meant to be. And us. We always knew this had an expiration date. His smile was broken. We just reached it sooner than expected. Daniel, I love you. I love you too. That's why I'm letting you go. He kissed her forehead, gentle and final. Then he walked to his room and closed the door. Sophia stood in the apartment, the envelope on the counter, her wedding ring heavy on her finger. She had 2 hours to decide. Career or love? Freedom or partnership? Everything she had worked for or everything she had discovered. She picked up her phone. Called Margaret Torres. I need legal advice, Sophia said. Is there any way to accept Jonathan's offer without divorcing Daniel? Margaret was quiet. Legally? No. His offer is contingent on annulment. Why would you want both? Because I refuse to choose between the life I built and the person I love. Then you need to find a third option. A third option. Sophia's mind raced. Then, slowly, an idea formed. She grabbed her laptop and started researching. Property laws. Business partnerships. Alternative funding sources. An hour later, she knocked on Daniel's door. Come in, his voice was rough. He sat on his bed, a half-finished painting in front of him. Dark colors, violent brushstrokes. I'm not taking Jonathan's offer, Sophia said. Daniel looked up. Why not? Because I found a better solution. She sat beside him, showing her laptop. I can't buy the building myself. But we can. Together. Your trust fund. My design expertise. We become partners. Not just in marriage, but in business. Sophia, that's your studio. I can't. You can. And I want you to. She took his hand. You said you wanted to build something that matters. Help me rebuild what matters to me. Let's create something together. What about Jonathan? He can keep his conditional freedom. I don't want anything that requires me to give you up. Daniel stared at her. You're choosing me over your studio. I'm choosing us. And then I'm choosing to fight for my studio anyway. Just on my own terms. That's insane. So is marrying a stranger in a courthouse. We're good at insane. She squeezed his hand. What do you say, husband? Want to be business partners too? Daniel's laugh was half sob. You're sure? I've never been more sure of anything. He pulled her into his arms, kissing her deeply. Then yes. Let's build something together. They called Margaret Torres. Drew up partnership papers. Daniel agreed to invest his trust fund in acquiring and renovating the building. Sophia would run operations. 50-50 partnership. Equal risk, equal reward. At 11:45 a.m., Sophia called Jonathan Park. I'm declining your offer, she said. My marriage stands. My studio will rebuild on its own terms. You're making a mistake. Jonathan's voice was ice. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. She hung up and turned to Daniel. No going back now, he said. Good. I'm tired of looking backward. Over the next 6 months, they rebuilt everything. Daniel's trust fund came through. Robert Blackwell, true to his word, didn't interfere. The building was purchased and renovated. Sophia's design studio reopened with a gallery space for Daniel's art. They worked 16-hour days, argued over design choices, learned to compromise and communicate. They painted walls together, assembled furniture, hung artwork. Some days were brutal. They were building a business and a marriage simultaneously, and both required constant work. But they were doing it together. On their 6-month anniversary, Sophia stood in the newly opened studio wearing a flowing black dress and heels, her hair styled in elegant waves. Daniel wore a dark gray suit, his unruly hair finally somewhat tamed. The space glowed with soft lighting. Sophia's design work covered one wall. Daniel's paintings filled another. A perfect collaboration. Friends, colleagues, and clients filled the space. Even Marcus from the gallery. Rosa from the coffee shop. Sophia's mother and father weren't there. Neither was Jonathan Park. Robert Blackwell stood in the corner, examining Daniel's work with grudging approval. "You've built something impressive," Robert said to them. "Both of you." "Thank you," Daniel said carefully. "Your grandmother would be proud." Robert's voice was gruff. "So am I. Even if I'm terrible at showing it." It wasn't forgiveness. But it was acknowledgement. Later, when the crowd thinned, Sophia and Daniel stood alone in their studio. "You know what's funny?" Sophia said, leaning against him. "I married you to escape control, to claim my freedom. And I found something better. I found partnership. Shared purpose. Someone who sees me completely and stays anyway." Daniel turned her to face him. "I married you because I thought it was safe. Transactional. No risk of real hurt. And you destroyed every defense I had. Made me feel everything I was terrified of feeling." His green eyes were warm, full of love. "Best decision I never planned to make." "Should we renew our vows?" Sophia teased. "Make it official? We're already married, remember? I mean without the contract. Without the expiration date. Just us, choosing this every day." Daniel's smile was brilliant. "Are you proposing to me?" "Maybe. What do you say?" He kissed her, deep and sure. "Yes." Again and always yes. Outside, the city hummed with evening life. Inside, two people who had started as strangers stood in the space they had built together, surrounded by art and design and possibility. They had both sought escape and found each other instead. Sometimes the best destinations are the ones you never plan to reach. Sometimes a contract becomes a promise. Sometimes a stranger becomes home. Sophia Chen and Daniel Blackwell built something more permanent than either had dared to hope for. A partnership. A marriage. A life. Not despite the chaos that brought them together, but because of it. The end.